Hello, everyone. I wanted to take a moment to welcome you to Writing 101, first year Writing 1. I'm Dr. Elliott Parker. I'm so glad to have you in class this semester. So glad to have you as a part of our online class this semester. And I wanted to take a moment to just introduce myself and to let you know that there's actually going to be somebody on the other side of the computer screen who's going to be working with you and interacting with you over the course of the semester. So the purpose of this video and the purpose of this lecture video is really just to introduce the course, talk about what we're going to be doing over the course of the semester from a broad perspective. What are some of our goals and objectives as we move forward throughout the semester? Give you an opportunity to learn a little bit more about me and hopefully answer any questions and maybe reduce any anxieties you may have about taking an online class, which I'll talk more about here in just a second. But the first two things I wanted to point out before we get to all of that I hope you'll keep in mind as we move throughout the class this semester, is to make sure, first of all, that if you have questions or concerns or need help at any time, that you reach out to me and let me know. Since I don't see you guys twice a week or three times a week in a regular face-to-face classroom setting, if you're struggling or you need help and you don't say anything or don't let me know, I just assume everything's going well and that you're doing just fine. So don't suffer in silence. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if something in Blackboard Ultra is not working or functioning properly, or you can't find something, please feel free to reach out and let me know. All of my contact information is in the syllabus, which you'll find later on in this module. And that contact information is there for you all to use. I have email, I have phone number, I have an office on campus. I have office hours that are open to you for questions, concerns, or stop bys at any time. If those hours on the syllabus don't work for you and with you in terms of your schedule, we can certainly meet at some other day and some other time. So please don't suffer in silence. Please reach out to me and let me know if you're having trouble or if you need any help or if you have questions at any time. That's first thing. Second thing, make sure that you read very carefully the directions and the information that is contained within each module. What you're going to see as we move throughout the semester in our class is the modules build off of one another. And if you don't understand something, if you miss something because you've skipped over it or haven't read closely enough, you're going to miss a gap in that information. And that's ultimately going to affect some of the larger projects and larger essay assignments that we have this semester. So be a close reader, be a good reader, don't skip over anything. And please let me know if you have any questions or concerns at any time about the class. And probably some of you all may have a little bit of anxiety because you're thinking, how is this going to work? How do you take a writing class online? How does this work? What is Blackboard Ultra? How's this all going to function as we get in and get moving through the semester? Well, I hope that after we kind of walk through some of this information here in the next few minutes, that some of your anxieties and concerns will be dampened a little bit. And I hope you'll feel a little bit more comfortable with the process. So I'm going to disappear for just a few minutes and I'm going to share with you some slides that I think will give you some more information about the class and about what we're going to be doing as we go throughout the semester. And I hope this will be informative for you and also give you some information and hopefully let you feel a little bit better about the class and the direction that we're heading. So, as I mentioned, this is Writing 101, first year Writing 1. This is a requirement that all students at the university take, no matter what major or program of study that they are in. And it is a class that is really one of my favorite classes because I think a lot of the things that we talk about, a lot of the skills that we are working on over the course of the semester are going to be skills that are not only going to help you be successful this semester as you go through your courses and your program of study, but as you move into your course of study, as you get into your program of study, I think a lot of what we work on and talk about and focus on in terms of writing, critical thinking, reading, and other skills are going to make you very, very successful. And I think these are also transferable skills into the workplace as well. So I'm really, really glad to be teaching the class and really happy to have you as a part of it. So I want to tell you a little bit more about me before we get into the class and some of the goals and objectives that we're going to be looking at this semester. Just a little bit of information about me. I came from a journalism background. I was a journalist for a while. I worked on the copy desk at the Charleston Gazette newspaper for a while, and I was responsible for editing news stories, editing articles, laying out and designing the newspaper so that it would go to press every day. Some of you are probably thinking, a newspaper? What in the world is that? If you don't know what that is, just Google it or ask your parents or your grandparents. They'll be happy to tell you what a newspaper is if you don't really know what that is or what I'm talking about. But I did that for a while, and then I worked for a company called Tri-Cities Broadcasting, Tri-Cities Media in Bristol, Virginia. And there I was primarily the staff writer. So I wrote sales proposals, I wrote contracts between us and national network affiliates like ESPN, NPR, PBS, and some other organizations that we carried programs on our stations on behalf of them. So I wrote all of those documents, did some on-air work. we were responsible for being the radio voice of the Bluefield College in Bluefield, Virginia, their football and basketball team. So I did some on-air work, wrote advertising copy for the sales team, just did a lot of different things regarding writing. So basically anything that the company produced in terms of written documents, I was responsible for. And I really, really enjoyed that. I'm from West Virginia originally. Went to Marshall University and then went to Eastern Kentucky University and Murray State University for graduate school. I've been at Ole Miss now since 2019. Prior to that, I taught at Marshall University for 3 years, and I was at Mount West Community and Technical College for 10 years prior to that. So, another thing about me, I have one nephew who lives in South Carolina, and he is a really good kid. He's now in the sixth grade, I believe, or seventh grade. Uncle Elliot can't remember what grade he's in this year, but he's in that middle school age range now, and he's really terrific. In addition to my teaching work and my work as a professor, I'm also a fiction writer. You can see two of my latest books are over there on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Table for Two, which is a multi-genre collection of short stories, some set in West Virginia, where I'm from, some set in Appalachia. We have a story set in Mississippi, a story set in Kentucky, a story set in Tennessee. A lot of different Appalachian cities and locales are featured in that collection of short stories. And then the book Double Cross there to the right of that is a thriller. It's a thriller novel that is set in my hometown of Charleston, West Virginia. So I started fiction writing a number of years ago just as a hobby, and it's something that really ballooned and blossomed into something that has really been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed it. Other things about me, I love Italian food, so it's my favorite. I could eat it every day till I was 800 pounds. So if you know some really great and awesome homemade Italian recipes, please send them my way. If you'd like to stop by with a homemade fixed Italian recipe that you're really good at, I will certainly accept that as well. But maybe you like Italian food, maybe Greek or Chinese or something else is your favorite. But I've always loved Italian food, always loved it. And also I have two cats, Buddy and Layla. They're in the picture there on the right. Buddy is my orange cat on the top of the chair. Layla is my little gray tabby cat there on the bottom of the screen. And something else about me that you may not know is that, or you may learn over the course of the semester, is that I stutter. I have a stuttering issue. I've had it since I was a little kid. Some of you maybe had that or know someone in your family or your friend circle that has that. So there are times where I do get my words twisted and tied up and kind of tangled together. And it's something that I've dealt with. But the best thing that's helped me overcome that has been having to do what I'm doing now, which is record videos, stand in front of classrooms of students and speak and talk and interact. That helps me a lot because I don't have time to think about my stutter and I don't have time to think about getting my words tangled and twisted because I've got to get information sort of presented clearly and concisely. So that's just a little bit about me, and I look forward to learning more about you as the course of the semester unfolds. So why is Writing 101 important? Why are we taking Writing 101? You might be thinking, well, I've had 4 years of English in high school. Why am I doing this now? Why am I taking this? Well, one thing I want to keep in mind, one thing we'll look at and kind of come back to over the course of the semester is that the world we live in is driven by language. And 90% of the words that we use and the communications that we convey every day are carrying important information. And most of the time, that information is trying to get someone to do something that we want them to do. We're trying to persuade them to see our side of an issue. We're trying to convince them to do something on our behalf, like clean your room or give me a ride or buy my lunch or whatever it might be. All of that is embedded in the language that we use, the words that we use, and the way that we structure our communication. And so that's really, really important as we think about writing and we think about what our main goals are as writers, no matter what we're writing or who we're writing to, is that we're trying to transmit information and we're trying to persuade or convince someone about a certain perspective. So over the course of the semester, we're going to do that by learning how to compose, by learning to respond to different types of writing, excuse me, our own type of writing, and also the writing of our classmates and others as well. And so I hope that when you leave the class this semester, you will feel empowered. You'll feel empowered to interact with a variety of different situations using your own words, using your own voice, using your own way of phrasing and understanding and writing information. And we're going to work on that and kind of hone those skills and polish those skills over the course of the semester. So that's one of the reasons that I think this class is really important, and one of the reasons that it is a class that's required of you here as a student at Ole Miss. So what are we going to be doing in Writing 101? Well, we're going to be looking at grammar and writing conventions over the course of the semester. We're not going to take quizzes on grammar. We're not going to memorize all the comma and semicolon rules. We're not doing that, but we want to make sure that we do use good grammar. We do use good writing conventions, such as not using slang language, not using cliches in our writing. All of that's really, really important when we're trying to communicate clearly and articulately. We're going to talk about the writing process, what that is and how that impacts how we read, receive, and write information. Over the course of the semester, we're going to structure and write four different types of essays, but four well-developed and well-supported essays. Some of that's going to come with information from your own knowledge base, your own prior knowledge. Some of that information will come from information that you seek out on your own or researched information that I provide for you. So we're going to write four different types of essays in four different genres. And then we're going to look at some sample readings. We're going to look at some sample student work from previous semesters. We're going to look at some sample writers who are writing these kinds of modes that we're going to be practicing in over the course of the semester and talk about what they're doing well, what they're not doing well, what we liked, what we didn't like about their techniques and their styles. And we're also going to talk about technology and how technology impacts the way that we write. And certainly using Blackboard Ultra and having an online class puts us right in the center of using technology in the writing classroom. So we're going to get there through a variety of different types of assignments, some shorter assignments, some longer assignments. You'll post to a class discussion board over the course of the semester, so that'll give you an opportunity to interact with your classmates on various topics. We're going to have some rough draft workshops when we get ready to write those four essays that are going to involve the assistance of the tutors and instructors in the Writing Center, and we'll have more information about that for you a little bit later on. And we're also going to look, as I mentioned, in a variety of different ways, different types of writing and different samples and styles of writing through textbook readings, newspaper article readings, journal article readings, YouTube videos, podcasts, all of that, and look at the kind of information that's presented there. So a lot of different things we're going to be doing over the course of the semester, a lot of ways we're going to be interacting with words and language as we move forward. So I just wanted to keep that in mind and share that with you and give you just some information that you can take going forward. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and pop back up for you. But I wanted to share that information with you because I think it's really, really important to kind of understand where we're going to be, going, what we're going to be doing. And so, as I mentioned earlier, please feel free to reach out to me. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns at any time about anything that's going on in the class. And I think one of the best things and one of the best ways that you can be successful in this class is ask for help if you need it. Be sure you log into Blackboard Ultra at least once a day. Come up with a plan for what your work week is going to be every week because we're not meeting in class and we don't have certain class time hours set aside. Plan and think about how am I going to complete my module work this week? What days am I going to work? How long am I going to work? What times am I going to work? And sort of build that into your other class schedule and your clubs and organizations and activities and other things that you're doing so that you don't fall behind. And just keep a positive attitude. There's going to be some days and weeks that things are going to come to you really quickly. And there's going to be some days and weeks that things are going to be a little bit more of a struggle. So don't get too hard on yourself when things get difficult or you don't understand something. It will be okay. But again, reach out and let me know if you have any questions or concerns. So welcome to Writing 101. Glad to have you as part of class this semester, and I'll talk to you again soon.